This is 7 News, the voice of regional WA.
Good evening, welcome to 7 News. First tonight, a new transfer facility for the Royal Flying Doctor Service and St John WA was officially opened today. The facility is based at Busselton Margaret River Airport and will allow the service to meet rising demand.
It's the service we hope we never need, but are glad we have in case something goes wrong.
Would never wish to be in the circumstances, but knowing that's there gives a certain amount of comfort.
The new facility cost just over $200,000 and will ensure both doctors and paramedics can provide patients with an even greater standard of care.
It allows us to have a patient completely private from the outside world. In one sense, but more importantly, it protects them from the environment.
There's even enough room for 2 parked ambulances.
Sometimes patients can deteriorate between the hospital and the facility, the airport, and it enables us this space to undertake any additional treatment that might be required.
The City of Busselton says they're glad to see it come to fruition.
A great project from staff from the ground and RFDS and the ambulance service. It's a fantastic thing.
Busselton is one of the busiest locations for the RFDS, and with increased population density and tourist activity, retrievals have been increasing by about 24% year on year. Last year, the Royal Flying Doctor Service landed at Busselton Airport 222 times, an average of 4 times a week. The new facility will allow the RFDS to transport patients from Busselton Airport to 3 of Perth's hospitals without being impacted by commercial airport activity.
Previously, we were working between the RPT operation and the departure and arrivals terminals, so now we have a dedicated space.
Josiah McMeekin, 7 News.
A Mandurah mother is finding it difficult after being charged over a crash which caused the death of her twin daughters. Rachel Van Owen didn't appear in Northern Court today, with the magistrate told she's struggling with the whole process. The matter was adjourned until August so she can seek legal advice. Police say the 31-year-old was driving carelessly when she crashed into a tree in Carrabin in February. The trio was making its way back to Perth after visiting family in Kalgoorlie. The search for a surfer who went missing in the state's southwest has been called off. The man was last seen on Friday afternoon off Surfers Point in Margaret River. Josiah McMeekin has the latest.
Search efforts for the man who went missing at Surfers Point in Prevelly have been suspended indefinitely. The man in his 40s was surfing in big conditions last Friday. He was sighted by another surfer in the water as being in need of assistance. However, due to the conditions, he was unable to be helped. A full search was launched, but halted on Saturday due to poor weather. The efforts resumed today with a helicopter patrol along the coast from Cape Naturalist to Hamlin Bay. Police say the man's family have been advised of the search being suspended, pending any new information. Noel.
OK, thanks, Josiah. Geraldton Police are asking us to help identify a burglar who was caught in the act. They say an unknown man entered a home on Blencow Road in Rangeway just before midnight on Thursday. He proceeded to steal a number of items from inside the home. Now, police have released this video in the hope someone will recognise the offender. So have a close look for us. If you have any information, please give the local police or Crime Stoppers a call. West Australians are being reminded to have their say on the live sheep export ban. A new parliamentary inquiry began last week looking at the impact of the bill. It'll be the last chance for industry stakeholders to voice any concerns. That can be done through a written submission or at the public hearing in Northern this Friday. The committee will then have 2 weeks to put the findings in a report.
That will be used by the Minister to decide whether he proceeds with the legislation or decides to pull it. I'm very hopeful that the Minister will have a rethink and pull his legislation.
Written submissions close tomorrow and can be emailed to the Standing Committee of Agriculture Secretariat. There are serious concerns about wait times for men seeking help to change their violent behaviour towards women, with Western Australian authorities recording more than 29,000 family-related offences in the past year. Each passing day puts victims' lives at greater risk.
Molly Ticehurst, Ashley Good, Samantha Murphy. These are the faces of just some of the women who have allegedly been killed by men this year. But those wanting to change their behaviour aren't getting help. Regional rehabilitation services are inundated. The wait lists up to 3 months long.
Women and children aren't getting the support and safety provided for them.
Programs are being paused, and experts fear it could be the difference between life or death.
We know that, for these men, it might be the last time they put their hand up to get support. We just don't have the capacity to start contacting women and children before they're in the program.
Providers blaming a lack of financial assistance in this year's federal budget.
Men's behaviour change services have not been given anything, and this is a huge problem. We don't have the funding to check with women at the 6-month mark, at the 1-year mark, and follow up with what is happening.
One option, a residential model for men to keep women in their own homes.
Perhaps we can provide low-cost accommodation alternatives while they continue to maintain their financial contribution to the family environment of which they've used violence.
A plan aimed at helping women and children from becoming another statistic.
If we can work with the perpetrator, we're less likely to have a victim.
Aspen Blomfield, 7 News.
And if you or anyone you know needs support, please contact 1-800-RESPECT. It's easy. That's 1-800-737-732. A network of WA TAFEs will soon be transformed into a nation-first centre of excellence for clean energy skills. It's hoped the move will springboard our status as a training hub for the green energy jobs of tomorrow.
Australia's race toward a clean energy future has taken off, with WA firm on the accelerator.
Clean energy is happening. It's here now. There are jobs for the taking. If you've got the skills, we want to train you.
Now a $70 million nation-first centre for excellence is hoped to boost the state's position further, setting it up as a national training hub for the skills of tomorrow.
While this is a national centre for excellence, it is leveraging off the capability throughout the states.
The state government expects WA will need an extra 40,000 electricians in the clean energy space by 2030.
If we're going to realise our net zero targets by 2050, we need to supply skills. If we're going to have a future made in Australia, we need to supply the skills.
TAFE campuses in Perth, Kalgoorlie, Albany, Bunbury, Geraldton, Karratha and Broome will all participate. They'll work closely with universities and industry to improve and deliver clean energy training.
Whether it's new course development, new equipment that's needed, what is the partnerships that are needed with industry throughout the state. The only new infrastructure that will be required for this national centre will be an office in the CBD. This is primarily a skills announcement to make sure that we have the people to undertake the skills that is necessary for this transformation.
The centre is expected to start up later this year. Jenny Shon, 7 News.
Pilbara Minerals has begun transporting dozens of workers a day between its mine site and the airport with the help of an e-bus. The carbon emissions cutting vehicle has had 2 years' worth of testing to withstand regional WA's rugged conditions.
Fully charged and ready to roll. This isn't just any ride, it's the East Pilbara's first electric bus.
Well, as a lithium company, it makes good sense that, of course, we would be embracing lithium technologies.
Pilbara Minerals says it'll slash a need for 12,000 litres of diesel each year. Its FIFO workers' regular 30-kilometre commute from the airport to site, now emissions-free.
So it's our first trial using a bus of this nature, and we like the idea of scaling up in the future.
A Port Hedland business has been behind 2 years of tests to make sure it's regional WA ready.
We've currently got an EV bus with Rio Tinto Sodexo and one down in the Goldfields with Covalent.
It's hoped it will ease range anxiety with a range of 450 kilometres and a 1.5-hour charging time using solar power.
So you've also got the added extra of having to sit and cool bus down for 35 minutes before your passengers get in. Could be 50-degree day and they're not going to want to get into an oven.
Northfleet will also help roll out 2 light e-trucks at Pilbara Minerals next month.
And it'll be running parts, running equipment around site.
A lithium mine sparking its own electric revolution. Jenny Shon, 7 News.
Time now for a look at our weather across the state, and it was a bit of a mixed bag today. A cold front clipping the southwest, pushing strong winds and showers over the bottom half of the state, with some cloud about in the wake of the system. Meanwhile, the top end, well, looking sunny and warm thanks to a ridge of high pressure with dry conditions for the start of the week. Taking a closer look at today's conditions, and it was sunny across the Kimberley with light winds about, maximums in the low 30s, 30 the top in Broome, some morning fog about in the Pilbara this morning before another sunny day, and 28 in Onslow. Mostly sunny skies across the Gascoyne, the Midwest today, 21 for Geraldton, 18 in Badgingarra, 24 across in Laverton. Isolated falls around the southwest with a cooler top of 15 in Manji, 17 in Narrogin, and further along the coast, 16 in Lake Grace. Taking a closer look at our rainfall totals, and overnight were recorded the heaviest falls. That was in the lower west, 33 millimetres in Bickley, 29 in Windy Harbour, 19 millimetres in Margaret River, with a passing shower or two in the wheat belt. To our school weather wall now, and hello to the students from Tambray Primary School. Here's a message for you from the students today.
Hi from Mount Lockyer Primary School in Albany.
Job well done. Looking good, guys. Now, at this stage, the showers forecast to hang around for some of us. I'll have the details for your place right after sport. And still to come tonight, a new mental health hub aimed at supporting men open in our regions. And see the Albany local turning fallen trees into works of art. We'll give you an inside look at his workshop. A new mental health hub aimed at supporting men has opened in the southwest. Carthage and Blue Mind Place officially opened at the Bustleton Youth and Community Centre yesterday. Run by charity Men's Talk, it will offer peer support, educational workshops and wellbeing programs for men. It's part of an 18-month pilot program looking at how to support men with their mental health.
Giving them the opportunity to come in a safe, supported space, but a more casual space where no one's judging them, no one's creating any stigma or stereotype around why they're seeking this help.
The hub will be open on Saturday and Sunday every week. Findings as part of the pilot will be analysed at Curtin University. Authorities are on whale watch this evening after a number of the mammals became tangled along our east coast. The latest was just this morning, raising concerns over if it will happen along our coast.
Incredible but concerning images of a whale entangled off the Port Macquarie coast. This video was captured by drone operator Alex McNaught at the request of National Parks.
I was called in.
Images were captured late yesterday, but it's just one of 4 whales spotted entangled in recent days.
There's been several in the last few days. There was one off Foster on Saturday and another one off Foster yesterday, and then of course one off Tacking Point late yesterday.
In those situations, it was too close to dark to send a rescue team out to sea, but another whale was spotted entangled off the Tacking Point headland this morning.
Well, I could see a bait ball being chased by a large fish, but when I looked closer with the binoculars, I noticed it was a whale, and then a little shortly after that, I realised it was dragging a boy.
National Parks crews were activated for an attempted rescue, but unfortunately, spotters on headlands lost sight of the giant mammal. Samantha Crowe, 7 News.
Turning fallen trees into art. That's the goal of Albany local Daryl Radcliffe. For more than a decade, he's been carving wooden sculptures. Now he's sharing them with locals and tourists. Nearly 100 pieces line his driveway.
This is Albany's very own drive-through museum. The sculptures line the driveway of Daryl's property, but these pieces are particularly unique, each of them carved with a chainsaw.
I've seen it overseas where it's very popular. They have chainsaw carving clubs and competitions and that, but it's a bit unusual in WA because our wood is so rock hard.
Daryl practiced the skill for 5 years. Then in 2017, his family got sick of the pieces around the home, so he put them in the front yard and opened the gates to visitors.
There are probably about 80 or 90 pieces on the driveway, but it's just growing. I think because it's a little unusual and a little quirky, people have found it interesting.
Using fallen logs from around his property, Daryl starts by blocking out the shape, then adds more detail with smaller chainsaws. He says there's no shortage of ideas, but he particularly likes to morph the nature of a tree into his designs.
I was always a shed person, so I like making things and building, but I was always quite good at art. So I think if you can sketch and draw, you're sort of halfway there with this hobby because you've got to be able to
see a little picture in your mind.
A couple weeks ago, Daryl retired from his job at the hospital. Now his focus is on updating the drive with some bigger pieces. He says his art is not about making money, but just having fun.
As long as it pays for itself, like it pays for my materials and machinery and my coffee, I'm happy.
Grace Armstrong, 7 News.
1 in 2 women who work in retail have experienced sexual harassment. New data from the Organisation for Women's Safety has revealed more than half of female workers have been harassed, with young women most at risk. In a third of cases, customers were the offenders. There are now calls for employers to be better educated about protecting staff.
Managers are the intersection between the victims and that next step in terms of taking action. So it's really important to make sure that the education and awareness at that level is really strong.
The industry body hopes the retail sector will take the recommendations on board to help stamp out harassment in the workplace. You're watching 7 News live across regional WA. Sport is up next, with the Kookaburras locked into a dramatic penalty shootout. Our Dardanup's Jake Harvey played a major role. And the Margaret River product knocked out of Surf City. Goldfields Giants have stunned on the road with back-to-back away wins. The men's side took down the Perry Lakes Hawks by 11 points on Saturday night, following it up by defeating the Coburn Cougars on Sunday to make it 5 wins in a row. The Southwest Slammers put up a strong fight against the Eastern Suns, but lost the lead in the final quarter to be taken down by 7 points. The Geraldton Buccaneers have continued their winning streak, defeating the Warwick Senators 106-77. In the women's division, the Slammers and the Giants were both defeated in their weekend matches. The South Bunbury Tigers have secured the spot at the top of the ladder in the Southwest Football League. The Tigers took down last year's grand finalist Kerry Park 128-43. South Bunbury kicked the opening goal and were firing from then. Blaine Johnson kicking 6 of the team's 19.
It was Brown and Johnson. Johnson protects and dropped the ball, but Brown's good enough to win it. Now comes towards Nordell. He handballs to Johnson. He's going to run into an open goal, is he? He certainly is. So there's the answer.
Elsewhere, the Ongerup Football Association saw a nail-biter with Jerramungup defeating Boxwood Hill by just 1 point. In Newman, the Pioneers took down the Tigers by 44 points. Hockey, the Kookaburras have gone down to world champions Germany in a dramatic penalty shootout. Both sides went into the final quarter 2-2, but strong defence meant neither let another goal through, sending them to a penalty shootout. The Kookaburras narrowly losing 4-5. Dardanup's Jake Harvey scoring one of the penalties. A win for Australia would have sent them to the top of the leaderboard. They currently sit second, though.
As much as we would like to have, maybe scored a few more in regular time, getting to do a shootout is an awesome opportunity for us, and I think it was really valuable learning opportunity.
The Hockeyroos, however, did defeat Germany in a penalty shootout 4-3. Both teams will have a day's rest before facing Germany again. Jack Robinson has maintained his spot in the top 5 surfers on the championship tour, placing 5th at event 7, Surf City, El Salvador. The Margaret River product made it through to the quarterfinals before being eliminated. His placing has moved him back up to 2nd in the rankings, behind Hawaii's John Florence. Surfers hit the water in Brazil for event 8 of the championship tour at the end of June, before heading to Tahiti for the Olympics in July. I'll be back next with a look at tomorrow's weather, and then in 7 News from Perth with Rick Arden. From famous faces to everyday heroes, who else made this year's King's birthday honour roll? That's all at 6. Welcome back. Let's have a look at weather for the next couple of days. Another unsettled day across parts of the state tomorrow. We could see showers and even storms across parts of the southwest as an unstable air mass paired with moist winds moves in, and you can see those conditions on our synoptic chart. The top end, though, totally different. It's the exception, nice and sunny and a clear day forecast. Much of the same on Wednesday, with rain across the southwest of the state. Mild winds are forecast across parts of the coast as well. A ridge of high pressure forecast to keep conditions settled in the north. And a bit of a reprieve on Thursday for some parts of the coast as that front starts to weaken a tiny bit. We could still see some isolated falls along parts of the coast though, but a high pressure system is likely to keep elsewhere mostly dry. On to tomorrow's conditions now. Let's head north. It's looking sunny and clear right across Wyndham and Columbaroo tomorrow with maximums in the low 30s. Settled conditions also extending into Port Hedland, 30 the top there, with mostly sunny skies across Exmouth and a maximum on 26 degrees. Moving south, isolated falls across Denham tomorrow, around a millimetre of rain or so forecast. Mostly sunny skies across the Gascoyne though. Showers across Geraldton and Kalbarri tomorrow, with cooler temperatures 17 the top in Dalwallinu. Looking like an unsettled Tuesday across the southwest of the state. Up to 5 millimetres of rain likely across Bunbury and districts. Showers across Albany as well, with a top of 19 degrees. Similar conditions in the Wheatbelt, 16 in Southern Cross, followed by that low of 9. Merredin, 11 through 18. A bit of cloud further along the coast tomorrow, 22 and mostly sunny in Eucla, with cloudy skies across the Goldfields, 23 the top in Leonora, 24 for Leinster and Coolgardie. A little bit cooler with 18 degrees. On local waters tomorrow, we can expect 1 metre seas and swells on the Pilbara and the Kimberley coasts. Swells reaching 4 metres on the Gascoyne coast. Moving south, seas forecast to around 1.5 metre mark on the Lancelin coast tomorrow, 2 metres in Bunbury with a strong wind warning on the Lewin coast. And that warning, by the way, is also in place for Esperance and along the coast there tomorrow, with a gale wind warning in place in Albany, 4 metre swells forecast in that part of our state. Around the country tomorrow, it's showers for much of the east coast, including Adelaide, 19 degrees, the top there, 25 and sunny in Alice Springs. Brisbane, all sunshine there and 23, and back home in the west, 31 and sunny in Broome, with Perth, a top of 21 degrees. That's our look at local news, sport and weather for this Monday. We'll be back with news and weather updates for you through the night. 7 News from Perth is next. From our team here, though. Good night, Western Australia.